All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a brand new month and a brand new Pocket Change Market Report. Of course, February 1st, 2023. We are rolling through this year, and we got some good stuff to talk about. The big feature in this particular video, there's a couple really cool Bicentennial coins errors that did sell. That's going to just blow you away. It blew me away because there was one specific coin that I really wanted, and I had this mindset that a certain dollar amount was going to be more than enough to buy it. Oh, no way. I got blown out of the water, and I've come into this kind of perspective that Bicentennial coin errors are not cheap. If you guys are able to find any sort of Bicentennial coinage with, a lamination, a clip, a small cut, maybe it's slightly off center. My goodness, you could pretty much sell these for a lot more than a comparable coin of any other date. And at the end of the day, you're going to come away feeling really good about yourself. So stay tuned. That's going to be a couple very spicy coins to be on the lookout for. But overall, man, this market is phenomenal. You know, we're back in the show scene. People are out there. They're looking for brand new 2023 coins because it's the talk of the town right now. We have nickels, dimes, quarters that are out in circulation right now. There's been a few reported discoveries of errors, especially on the new Bessie Coleman quarter. We have one here on the list. There's been a lot of them. I've kind of like debunked a few of them myself, which I'm going to do a completely different video highlighting the different types of errors that people, quote unquote, have found out there in circulation. And right now, if you don't know the terminology or if you don't know what specific errors look like on coins, you shouldn't make stuff up. I'm just going to go out and say that because the last thing you need is to sell this coin for $400 and have it come back because it's not as described. So through the course of, I would say, the next week or so, I'm going to do a few videos just kind of talking a little bit more in depth about what it takes to be knowledgeable of errors specifically. So that way you don't have to get yourself into a situation where you have to take in a return that money you had collected from the sale you had already spent, and then now you're going to have to scrimp and scrape to get that money back to pay your chargeback. You don't want to do that. So, pretty crazy. Okay, I'd say the best bet right now that a lot of people are following is they're just selling the individual rolls of these new coins and are making a tremendous amount of money. I know quarter rolls right now of the Bessie Colemans are selling for over 2 times face value. By the time you factor in fees and shipping, you'll make $10 a roll. And that seems to be the thing going on right now. There's been very few sales of full bank boxes because those folks recognize the money to be made here is in a little bit longer term play by selling these by the roll and not necessarily by the box. Sure, you can make a boatload of money. You could double up your money at the blink of an eye selling a box, but really, to make the most amount of money, you sell them by the roll. So we're going to take a look at about the last 12 to 16 hours of market activity on eBay of all the coins you're going to see today. Power packed. The market's super busy right now. Everybody's looking for these things. And we don't talk about graded coins. I want to make that clear because that's a needed expense when you're going into this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what's sold here in the last half a day. Starting out with this 2022 Lincoln Shield Cent. Hello. This coin is still out there for you guys to find. These were discovered toward the fourth quarter of 2022. So I would say it's a relatively newer discovery on the error front. But it's really cool. I mean, take a look at this coin right here. It exhibits a pretty nice size strike through right in front of Lincoln's face. I did a short video of this not too long ago, actually a few hours ago, highlighting this particular coin because while people are waiting for 2023s, and there's very few of those out there right now, this is a coin that maybe you should also be on the lookout for because it sells way more than just 1 cent. So this strike through again is caused by some sort of grease and debris that's on the dies. It could very well be also a byproduct of the feeder finger making contact with the top of the die as well. Just kind of pushing around some of that grease on there. And that's why there are a few examples that have different shapes and sizes of this anomaly. They're not all the same size. So this one right here, very nice condition coin. This is what you could still expect as you search through your coins, especially your 2022s. They're still going to look very minty fresh. 2 years, 3 years down the road, that's not going to be the case. A lot of those coins will have exhibited a lot of circulation wear, and actual full sealed rolls of this date a few years from now will be very thin. So this one coin right here did sell for $17.25. There were probably a good half a dozen of these that sold in the last half a day. So just to let you know, people are finding them and they're turning a pretty good size profit. The next one that we have here is a much older coin, and our big lesson of the day is don't think that the older coins are A, unobtainable because of their costs, and B, that they're just too old to have anything good. Well, those are misconceptions in the cherry picking field of coins and numismatics. I can tell you, older coins have more errors on them. I mean, when we think about the earlier days of production of these things, they're not as strict or stringent on quality control like they are today. Now, I'd like to say they have pretty strict quality control, but based off of the previous coin, that is further from the case, But this one right here, 1867, 2 cent piece. In this current condition, you can find at a coin shop for about 10 to 15 bucks. It's probably a probably VG condition coin. You do have a few letters and words left in the motto, "In God We Trust." But what we're looking at here for this is going to be this retained cut die break that's connected to the INC in America. While quite minor, that is on there, and as a result, this person did end up selling this coin for $37.99. Sure, you're not going to make hundreds of dollars doing this, but if you're out there constantly hunting and searching and you're getting in close to the coins with your magnifier, looking for these errors and varieties, you could do really well. So this is a very fun activity, very, very equitable. And you guys should be applying this to your modern kind of roll hunting activities as well. Go check out a coin shop or a show, and you will find stuff like this all day long. The next one that we have here is a really cool one, but this is a particular error that I caution a lot of folks. If you do come across it, I would certainly grade it. Okay, because these have been counterfeited before. This is a 2013 $1 bill. It looks pretty well worn. It's got a lot of folds in there and a lot of areas of circulation. But what you're going to look for on this particular note isn't what you see on the front. The front of the note looks normal. When you flip it over, boom, you have some of that third overprint that has been wet ink transferred to the reverse of the note. I would imagine that there's probably a number of these notes from the same subject sheet that have the same ink transfer. So you want to make sure that everything that is a wet ink transfer error is mirrored. It's going to be backwards, so it reads backwards. So in this particular case, the numbers are all backwards. It's got the correct district letter, which is the letter G, and that's backwards as well. It has everything short of the serial numbers, I've seen these before. They do come up legit in the marketplace, but you also want to pay close attention to the inks as well. The inks on this one looks correct, but I have seen some doozies. Either the ink's too light or it's way too dark, different shade of green, things like that. This one right here, it's one of the more rarer wet ink offset transfers that you will come across, but when you do find it, even in this condition, it's worth a few bucks. In this particular case, this one sold for $89.88 with 10 bids. So when you find these, grade them. They'll probably be worth a lot more than that. The next one that we have here is a 2001 Lincoln Memorial Sen with a tremendous amount of strike through on the obverse. A lot of weakness here. So that hammer die had a pretty good healthy coating of grease just to kind of make everything move and operate as soundly as possible when it's striking all these coins. And keeping in mind, the production of coins is very rapid. It's unforgiving. There's a lot of pressure involved. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. It's like an automobile. When you don't change the oil or when you don't change the air filter, things tend to go wrong. And you don't want that. It could be very costly. You'll even see a lot of the stress and the damage as a result of that. So applying the grease to the things like the dies and all the working mechanisms that move to make sure that these coins are produced is paramount. So, coins in this particular case show that particular process when grease has been applied to the moving parts of the press. And when it has to strike through a bunch of grease, you get a lot of weakness like this. Now, while not one of the most spectacular coins to find out there, these come up quite frequently, and they are worth some money. The more radical the strike through, the more that you'll earn. Like this one right here ended up selling for $12.45. Not the most premier looking example with a fingerprint on the reverse and a few other things, but a really cool find nonetheless. Brian Rybar had one of these bad boys. Man, I owned one of these, and I don't know why I ever sold it. To be honest, I don't know why I sell my coins, right? I enjoy this hobby so much that I just want to keep everything. But when you have a spouse that tells you, wow, you have so much stuff, you need to start thinning the herd a little bit, I kind of take that to heart, and that's okay. It's all for a good kind of outcome. But anyways, before I get too deep into that conversation, how about this 1964 Lincoln with probably one of the strongest double-to-die reverses that you will ever come across. This is also the FS801. Here's a few things to be on the lookout for. You're going to have that around-the-clock doubling on United States of America and E pluribus unum. Check out the letter S in the word states. Actually, both S's will exhibit this doubled serif, and then you'll have plenty of splits and notching all throughout. This is, again, a very strong variety. This is very searchable. This one right here is in really nice shape, but you can find lower graded specimens that will still sell for you if you need to. This one right here ended up selling for $103.90. Beautiful find. And then he also had a number of 1960 D over D RPMs. These are RPM number 5s. Very, very nice date to hunt for these particular type of RPMs, also called repunchment marks. This one right here is RPM number 5 that features a secondary Denver mid-mark that is punched westward of the primary. So one of my favorites, I have probably a good maybe 30 or 40 of these because I also hunted my fair share of 60 Denver rolls and found this particular RPM. So I'd like to say I have a pretty good collection myself. This one right here is sold for $8.41. Again, worth a lot more than a penny. Although you're not going to profit huge from it, if you have a whole bunch of them, that's where it really begins to stack up. We're going to throw this one in here. 1989 P Washington Quarter. Not the first time that we've seen an off-center struck specimen of this date. And this one also has its issues. It's got a little damage. The coin's circulated to some degree. If you absolutely need kind of more of a bargain basement level of coin for maybe a date set or just to have an example of this error, You could do a lot worse. And then some would say that this one is probably more broad struck than it is off center, which means the collar wasn't fully engaged during the strike. And that normally keeps the coin in place, keeps all the metal flow and everything associated with that all in one place. When you don't have that collar, the metal flow goes outwards. This one right here sold for $30.25. Again, a few little rim bumps and nicks on there. Really shows on this one. Kind of hard to see. The pictures and images weren't too good on this one, but it's an off-center struck Roosevelt dime. It looks to be what do you call it? Not a saddle strike, but this one right here. It could be a saddle strike, I suppose. But you had two off-center struck Roosevelt dimes that butt up against each other, and that's why you have some degree of flatness over here on the off-center portion of it. The date is 1984 on this one. Very pleasing, I would say, mid-state example. This one sold for $25. Quite a tough date here. This is one that you don't see too often. And another favorite of mine, I found quite a few of these during my my stint of hunting through bags of wheat cents. Of course, I would love to have one that's as minty red as this one, but it's a 1955 S over S RPM. It is number 1 in the files. It's also FS 501 in the Cherry Picker's Guide, and this example is a triple S. So you have 2 secondary S mint mark punches north of the primary on this one. So it's a S over S over S. This one sold for $40. The price of this one has gone up quite a bit for mid-state red examples. All right, we haven't talked about a really nice, good Canadian error. How about we have a 1979 Canadian penny for you on display, off-center by about 15%. Not the most premium example of this coin, but it's pretty gosh darn good. Off-center errors, let alone Canadian errors, have a really huge following north of the border. And it's, sometimes I'll come across a few of these here stateside at a few shops and shows. So if you do come across them, keep in mind, if they're being sold for way too cheap, you can buy them up and then resell them on the secondary market. And oftentimes, it's going to be someone from Canada that's going to pick this up. This one sold for $29.22 Canadian for this particular coin. So there is an unbelievable array of double-struck Lincolns, or coins for that matter. There was quite a few of them. I am like, where did these things come from? They're like all of a sudden popping out in the market like Pez in a Pez dispenser. But we have a 1972 Denver Lincoln Memorial Cent double struck with a partially readable date on the off-center struck portion of it. Very nice condition coin. I would not be sad to own this coin, and I'm usually a stickler for like heavy carbon spotting and various other things, damage, of that nature. And this is just a beautiful looking example. This one sold for $155.25. And here's another one here too. And I put these kind of back to back to help illustrate the importance of finding examples with a full readable date. Ladies and gentlemen, another double struck Lincoln, while it's not as beautiful or red as the previous one, this one does not have something the other one does. And that's a full readable date, whether it's on the primary strike or on the off-center double struck portion of the coin, which stinks. I would have loved to have seen a double date on this one, or even a singular date. You can make the conclusion that whatever date coin this is, the secondary strike is going to be just that as well. So $40 for this one, and that's a huge difference for a very desirable error, one of the most dramatic that you will ever see on a U.S. Mint error. But it's important to have that date. If you're going to collect into these, make sure you get one with at least one full readable date and mint mark, if that applies. And then you're going to have a coin that's going to be, valuable for years to come. Oh, there wasn't much in the way of lots in the last like half a day, but hey, let's go ahead and talk about this lot of 12 Lincoln cents, all with a single curved clip on them. While not the most attractive looking lot from an error standpoint, because clips are generally kind of the most available, most widely seen error in change today. It's good to see like lots of this, a lot, that possibly you could pick up and then flip, and try and double your money. Now, if it were me, I'd probably buy something like this. By the way, it's sold for $33.99, which puts it at under $3 per coin. And then you could try and flip them for like $9.99 shipped on eBay, and you could turn that double profit that you want. And, there's a lot of wheat cent dates in here, which is cool. Those will traditionally command a little bit higher premium. And the coins that are a little bit more modern have a lot of mint state red to them. So that's an equal added bonus. So just, assess things like this. I believe this was a buy it now listing. So someone did hit the buy it now. And I would assume that they're either going to put a collection of this together or resell these. It's going to be one of two things. But not too bad. $33.99 sale on this lot. All right, so candy half dollars had a little bit of a kind of a time in the light this week, I suppose. And you definitely need to pay attention to a few of these. How about 1964 Denver? Actually, no, it says Denver on my sheet, but I don't see a mint mark on the reverse. So 64 Philly, candy half dollar. We know these are 90% silver. So always a good reason why you should check your silver for something like this, because melt value is what, $7-8 today on a 90% half dollar. So this one has to be worthwhile saving in order for you to do just that. And it is. So even just one singular clip even has really strong Blakesley effect on this opposite side of that clip. This one ended up selling for, get this, $43.50. That's a buy it now hit. So yeah, definitely worth it. That's almost like 5 times your money right there on something like this. It is definitely worth hunting through your scrap silver you have in your inventory. Now, here's our other 2022 strike-through Lincoln Shield cent. Look at that one. A little bit different shape. It actually goes all the way up to the rim. And this one I would say is in much nicer condition compared to the previous example. This one also shows a little strike-through on the back of Lincoln's head as well, and going into the fields, which leads me to believe that this is a feet or finger issue. This one right here ended up selling for $15.25. I mean, if you're able to score $10 to $15 for every one of these that you do find, and apparently they travel really well together. So if you find one in a roll and you're looking at just BU rolls of these things, you're going to find others as well. So it's a pretty good opportunity to find a grip of these and then do whatever you want to do with them. But I can tell you, at 1,000 to 1,500 times face value, if you read it that way, by the way, you're going to see that these are instant home run hits. Okay, so not the best picture, but this is a 1969 C $100 bill with a gutter fold there on the right side. Gutter folds are created when there is a simple wrinkle in the sheet prior to the printing process. So you can see that there. The wrinkle at some point was stretched out to show the gutter of missing print there. On the reverse, no gutter, which means that before the back print was applied, which is generally the first print, that wrinkle in the sheet was actually pressed out or unfolded, and then subsequently when it did the front printings, the wrinkle had kind of come back to what it was. But really cool. This one sold for $233.10 with 6 bids. Okay, so there is a seller, and the seller had one of the big coins that I was trying to buy here in the last day or so. Devil's Lake guy had a bunch of awesome error coins. Starting out with this one here, 1984 Jefferson nickel, double struck, two readable dates. The first initial kind of main date on the main strike. A little cut off there on the end, but you can see that it is a tip of the 4. Man, this thing is gigantic. This one right here is sold for $124.18 with 18 bids. I mean, sure, it's unlikely that you'll find one of these going through a roll of coin because of how out of shape it is. However, you got to keep in mind, if you come across these, and there are coin dealers that don't give a crap about US Mint errors, and they have them priced to sell, dudes and dudettes, jump all over them when you can, and you could add something pretty special to your collection, or you could turn a huge amount of profit by doing just that. So keep that in mind. Beautiful coin right here. Devil's Lake also had a few really nice off-center Washington quarters, and they're all kind of like mid-state as well, like this 89p. Way better than the previous 1989p off-center that we saw earlier in the show. This one is off-center by about 20%. Beautiful coin. This one sold for $63.25 with 12 bids. Okay, I'm a little heartbroken because I didn't win this one. This was the coin, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me that you're a Bicentennial coin without actually telling me that you have a full readable date indicating that it's a Bicentennial coin. Here you go. I mean, that's pretty much a foregone conclusion that even without a readable date, with that reverse, you know what it is. This thing is... yeah, this is what I thought would, I had a $300 bid in my back pocket, and even before I got to type in $300, it shot well beyond that, and I was, I'm a little butthurt about it, because I really wanted this one in my collection, but as you can see, it's off-center by quite a bit, maybe 25%, 20%, somewhere around there. Beautiful, mid-state, no damage whatsoever. This thing is clean. And honestly, this is a coin that I would not grade at all. It doesn't need that. This one speaks volumes for what it is. And here we go. The sale price, $494.25 with 30 bids. This thing was sitting at $177 for a number of days. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get this one. 300's enough. No, it wasn't meant to be. Maybe next time. But what a beautiful coin. Don't know if I would have spent $500, who am I kidding? I might have spent that if I knew it was worth that kind of money. But it goes to show you, it's like night and day when we're comparing like this particular date of off-center error to just a regular run-of-the-mill other date of candy half dollar with the same off-center spread. It's just crazy. It's like double the money. So, Bicentennial coin errors, crazy right now. Devil's Lake also had this 85p. Very nice coin, man. I say he had some bangers on here. Another beautiful one. This one sold for $70.25. 24 bids this time around. Even with just the last 2 dates of the date on there, you know what it is. It's like, it's not a 2085, that's for sure. We're not even there yet. And how about this one as well? I'm telling you, he had some really unique pieces. 1989 Lincoln Memorial Cent. That's double struck, and both of them are way off center. But you have at least one full readable date, which is cool. What kind of stinks is that it's a copper-coated Zinkin. This would be a tough one for me if I did own it, whether or not I would keep it long term, just based on how volatile the composition is to moisture and things like that. But nonetheless, we are looking at a $158.26 sale with 23 bids on this one. And again, ladies and gentlemen, these coins are not graded. They just don't need that. And well, Devil's Lake. I think this is the last one from that particular seller. How about a nice double struck 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent? that also exhibits a really large indent as well. This is one of the most phenomenal looking errors I've seen. I would never own it because it is, again, another copper coated zinc-in, but boy, just on how dramatic it is, this one is quite nice. Again, it's not graded. Some people will send this one off to PCGS or NGC right away, and yeah, you just don't need it, I guess. So this one sold for $315.41 with 42 bids. Okay, now we're getting back to kind of normal. We've all lived into our own fantasy land for the last few listings. Yeah, Betsy Coleman's. These are out right now, and there have been a few early kind of interesting errors on them. 2023P is this one right here. Pretty cool reverse. Again, that's a good way to kick off this year's new program. And yeah, there have been a number of them with this die chip conveniently placed right on the wing. There have been another example that I believe the die chip had connected to Unum, which is quite significant when you have a connection from one device to the other. Again, look out for these. People are going to be collecting this by progression state. So, yeah, when that happens, people are going to be bidding on them pretty furiously. This one sold for $20.75 with 4 bids. Last piece of currency on the list is this 1981A $1 bill with a misaligned overprint. Just slightly south, I would say, on this one. Pretty cool. You got overlapping aspects of the second and third print, which is important for just the sheer dramatic nature of this error. And this one sold for $54.39 with 13 bids. There's a little bit of a back image showing some circulation wear, but overall a really good looking piece of paper. Oh yeah, I forgot. Devil's Lake also had this one here too. This one has a lot of kind of like a roller coaster of emotions for me, because I like early copper. I love me some early copper. The 1844 over 81 variety, if you guys are familiar with this, it's in the Cherry Picker's Guide. It's also in the Red Book. This is a huge one. It's off center, but man, someone hold the crap out of it. It probably was used as a washer or a gear, back in the day, which was common practice for coins to be used as such. But yeah, this one it's got the variety. It's off center as an error. I mean, the only kind of like feather on the cap to make this one perfect, even it looks like it's cleaned, is if it did not have that hole, this thing would be just bonkers. There's a little close up of the overdate. You can see the top curl, the 8 over this 4 right here. It's even there's even photos in the Red Book of this particular overdate variety. But even with the hole in the middle of the coin, it did sell for $212.75 with 21 bids. Wow, that is gonzo crazy. And of course, we got ended off on a Bicentennial. Another error. 2 curved clips on this one. If you look at the reverse, it looks like a pair of underwear. It's that crazy. Some tidy whities to be exact. But it's a Denver coin, which is really cool. Some would say, "Oh yeah, all the errors on P-mints." No, that's not the case. Denver does screw up on occasion, and these things always manage to get out there, through mint-sewn bags and whatnot. So when I saw this, I'm like, yeah, we're going to end it on this one. Because, again, the theme of the day is bicentennial coinage errors. Don't forget the quarters and the Ike dollars, too. Because those coins by themselves command a whole world of value for similar type of errors like this. But a coin like this, in very nice shape, ungraded. Where'd we end up on this one? How about $42.11 with 24 bids? Again, we're talking about the lowest totem pole level of coin error that you could find. And bam, blammo, here we go. We got it right here for you. So look out for those Bicentennial coin errors, ladies and gentlemen. And coinaholics of all ages. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully this video give you guys a little inspiration to do some hunting of your own. There's plenty to look out for out there. So go ahead and cherry pick it till your heart's contented. Have fun. This hobby is all about FUN. If you're not doing that, then you will not have any success in it. So keep that in mind. Enjoy the history. It's just amazing. I love doing this, and I love doing it for you guys. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Do all those 3 things on screen, and I'll love you a long time. So go out there and let me know what you guys find. I'll see you guys next time for more coin video action.